Hey you, yeah you who clicked on this video. Thanks for giving our channel a shot. And if you will, please do us the honor of watching the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Now onto the video. Hello fellow 8-bit heroes. Today we have a special news item that has just leaked today, and that being some unredacted correspondences between executives at Microsoft during the FTC lawsuit hearing earlier this year in regards to Microsoft's pending acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So before we get into it, let's set the table right now. This video is not meant to encourage or even propagate any of the console war nonsense. We're not about that here. It's not productive. And more importantly, I don't really, console wars to me is stupid. And for two reasons. Number one, as I've outlined in a previous video, console wars is either bred out of the need to justify one's purchasing decisions because one can only afford one console or another, or from the opportunity that getting clout from basically the console war and stoking those flames among the first type of people. So we're not about either one of those things here. I myself have all the consoles. I play all the games because if there's good games, I'm going to play them regardless of what platform they're on. So with that being said, let's get into this piece of news today. So today, what we found out is that essentially Phil Spencer at Xbox and the people at Microsoft weren't just eyeing companies like Activision Blizzard, but were actually looking to either increase their current partnerships with companies, specifically Nintendo, or outright acquire them. And this is actually admitted to by Phil Spencer. And we have an article by The Verge which corroborates this in the unredacted evidence being basically put forth to the FTC. So let's look at this real quick. So what we see here, Phil Spencer says acquiring Nintendo would be a career moment. Now, not to paraphrase or misquote Mr. Spencer, what we have here, which is very interesting, says, I've had numerous conversations with the LT of Nintendo about tighter collaboration and feel like if any US company would have a chance with Nintendo, we are probably in the best position. So, I mean, yo, like this is crazy. And just the idea, I mean, they've already purchased ZeniMax. They're trying to purchase Activision Blizzard, and now what we're getting is hints that like they're trying to get with Nintendo. And what's funny is the way that he words this. Like this had me rolling a little bit when he says that he's had numerous conversations. But the part that's funny is that we are in the best. We have a chance with Nintendo and we are probably in the best position. Like just imagine like if like you approached a woman like that, like, hey girl, I really just feel like I'm in the best position to get with you and I think I got a chance. Like that is so funny to me, but you know, I digress. I mean, this is crazy. But I think what's interesting about this is that during the entire discussion surrounding the acquisition of Activision Blizzard and even ZeniMax to a smaller extent, you know, a lot of people were really sounding the alarm, basically saying that, you know, Microsoft, because of their failure to innovate, their unwillingness to innovate with the teams that they have, because make no mistake, even though they didn't have as many prior to the ZeniMax acquisition, as many studios as PlayStation and Sony, they had some good studios and some really good IPs that they just did not take advantage of. And part of the reason is because I don't think that they're looking at games as art forms and letting those teams really create and just providing a guiding hand. But I feel like they're just looking at dollars and cents. And so they're really following a pattern very similar to what Disney did in the early 2000s. So if anybody doesn't know, Disney, under the leadership of Bob Iger, who was the current and former CEO of the Disney Corporation, had a strategy of basically buying up major production houses, major studios, and major IPs that come along with those studios umbrellas, and basically using those to extend the reach of the Disney Corporation. And what we had there is very similar to what's going on with Microsoft now. So if you remember, Disney purchased Pixar, Disney purchased Lucasfilm, Disney purchased Marvel, and Disney purchased Fox. And if you can argue with me the merits that that under the leadership of Disney, these properties that are under those umbrellas have benefited, I mean, more power to you, but I don't see it. I mean, basically at that time, people were really worried that when these properties were gobbled up by the Disney Corporation, they would basically get Disneyfied. And at the time, there were supporters, no, that's not what's going to happen. You know, Disney's just going to let them do their thing. Nope, Disneyfied. We can look at Star Wars with the sequel trilogy and the amazing Wonder, the bestest ever. Or we can look at Marvel and how they've utterly destroyed those properties, whether we're talking about Iron Man, Captain America, Black Panther, Black Widow, or any of the other founding Avengers, and their properties have all been destroyed. The characters have been killed off and eviscerated, and they basically are trying to use those heroes as mantles rather than characters, and shoehorning in any type of character in those suits and thinking that you won't notice or you won't care because the only thing you care about is the costume, which couldn't be further from the truth, and why Marvel and Star Wars have both degraded in quality and viewership. We also have various other companies such as Fox, which has most of their properties, especially the TV properties and the movie properties to a certain extent, have been Disneyfied. I mean, whether we're talking about Deadpool and the repeated delays due to probably creative differences between Ryan Reynolds and Disney, or we're talking about the various TV properties like The Simpsons and others that have been, censored to high hell on Disney Plus. These are really the casualties of war when it comes to these large multinational conglomerates taking over studios and IPs. And so with Microsoft, we're seeing a very similar thing happen. Whether we're talking about a game like Redfall being released, or we're talking about a game like Starfield, which is awesome, but would have had a larger reach had the game been released in its original form, which was supposed to be multi-platform. Now we know that the Elder Scrolls 6 is also going to be Xbox exclusive, or Xbox and PC exclusive. And, this is not really a good look as far as the gaming industry as a whole is concerned. And what happens is that this isn't in a vacuum. I mean, companies like Nintendo and Sony are going to have to respond in some way, shape, form, or fashion based on how grandiose these acquisitions are. Now, we know that you can't buy something that's not for sale, and Nintendo has not really made any type of moves to say that they would like to be bought. But they have partnered with Microsoft in the past, whether we're talking about, I think it was Ori and the Will-O-the-Wisp or something like that, and Cuphead and other games that have appeared on the Nintendo platforms courtesy of Microsoft. But an acquisition, I don't really see happening, but if it did happen, it would not be good for the gaming industry. And like I said, this more so shows the way that Phil Spencer likes to do business. He talks out of both sides of his mouth. As we all know, Uncle Phil cannot be trusted. We saw this with Elder Scrolls 6, where he tried to basically beat around the bush when asked pointedly about whether or not the game was going to be exclusive or not. So, I mean, we're just in a situation where, the greed of Xbox and Microsoft and the kind of the lack of innovation when it comes to their current leadership is really on full display. And like I say, I like Microsoft. I want them to succeed. I want them to do well, but I don't want it to be just a whose wall is bigger. Is daddy's credit card have enough of a limit for us to buy success? I would love to see them grow their the properties that they had originally had under their umbrella, grow those properties, and really do in a way what Sony did, but with their Game Pass model. Even though I don't really think the Game Pass model is good for developers, and more importantly, I think it's not, the streaming model in of itself can't really be profitable. I do believe that the Game Pass experiment allows more people to play more games, and that's always a good thing. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section, whether or not you believe that Xbox and Microsoft really are behaving like Disney in the 2000s, or you think that this is a good thing, that Xbox gobbling up Nintendo, a company that they really don't have any real history with outside of a few partnerships, is a good idea. Sound off in the comment section below, and we'll see you on the next one. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace.